think he just walks away and hopes for the best. Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the January 22nd River Falls City Council meeting. First thing we'll do is stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Christy, can we have a roll call, please?
Dead.
Here.
Downing.
Here.
Gagne. Here. Morset.
Here.
Odine.
Here.
Page.
Here.
Watson.
Here. Okay, next we have approval of the minutes from the January 8th meeting.
I move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next we have approval of the bills with Mr. Morissette.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I make a motion we approve the bills in the amount of $3,551,873.79, subject to the comptroller.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next move on to, first we're going to have a state of the city presentation, and City Administrator, Mr. Simpson, will give that to us all.
So this time of year, as my throat is dried, right before I'm supposed to give a big presentation, I'm reminded that even though it's a cold here, it's a dry cold. You know? I hear that from all the people that live down south. It's a dry heat. Well, good evening. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for the time tonight to take a look back at 2018. We'll look back at our accomplishments and share some thoughts about 2019. For the look back, staff's produced a year in review video based on the theme Vision and Values. So we hope you'll enjoy a look back at Vision and Values.
In 2018, the City of River Falls went back to the basics. City Council and staff revisited our mission and created a new vision statement for the city. We also took a closer look at our values and rededicated ourselves to both embracing and living them as we work with each other and our community. Putting people first is always top of mind for city employees. From start to finish, we aim to deliver exceptional customer experiences that meet the needs of River Falls residents of all ages and stages. In 2018, 174,000 people visited the library and checked out nearly 320,000 materials. 288 youth and 217 adult programs were delivered. The library's Kleinpel Gallery welcomed 9,000 individuals to 10 diverse, interactive exhibits. In 2018, our Parks and Rec department enrolled 2,527 youth and 1,200 adults in 90 summer recreation programs. 24 teenagers were employed as teachers, aides, and instructors in the pool, on the diamond, and up in the air. A record number of River Falls residents stepped up to the plate at midterm elections on November 6th, when 70% of eligible voters cast their ballots, nearly 20% more than the national average. Serving our community and putting people first is job one. Many times that work is done behind the scenes, but it provides the necessary services that keep our community functioning safely and efficiently. Educating and engaging the public in the work we do is a high priority for the city, especially among our youth. Whether it's putting out fires or introducing 250 second graders to the Public Works Department, planting trees on Arbor Day, or demonstrating the importance of good stormwater management, we are busy helping a new generation become active participants in this community that cares. Opportunities to hang out and be active with River Falls' finest helps kids and families get to know members of our police department in fun, casual settings. This year, the Torch Run bike ride surpassed its early sign-up goal, winning investigator Ryan Miller a classic pie in the face. The city's focus on ensuring high-quality outcomes was recognized by state and national organizations in 2018 when the Public Works crew received an Excellence in Snow Maintenance Award from the American Public Works Association, and staff were recognized for innovative planning by the American Planning Association, Wisconsin. River Falls continues to be a leader in alternative energy usage. Last year, the city ranked 5th in the nation and 1st in the state for resident participation in our Green Energy Block program. Acting with integrity means being transparent in all we say and do. Transparency invites community dialogue, aids decision-making, and builds trust. And in the process, be good stewards of city revenue and resources. Every 5 years, the city identifies and budgets for projects that strengthen our infrastructure, advance use of technology, and enhance livability for future generations. These projects from our 2015 to 2019 plan are underway or have been completed on time and on budget. As we continue to check off promised capital improvements, we work daily with investors and partners to complete development projects from all corners of our community. To the north, Anchor Paper has begun construction of an 85,000 square foot facility in Whitetail Ridge Corporate Park. The former Rivertown Multimedia building next door has been purchased by the city for a new police station. Downtown, the Falls Theater opened a much heralded second screen, and Juniors finished its outdoor patio and indoor remodel. A 50-unit senior living facility will be constructed at Clark and Cedar Streets, with single-family homes and apartments under development in 3 other city locations. At Glen Park, a foundation has been laid for a new pavilion, the first of several major park renovations. The city made many new furry friends when it opened the River Falls Dog Park this spring. Chippewa Valley Technical College completed an addition and added parking in 2018, and construction on Rodley Hall continues to move forward at UW River Falls. And the River Falls Gymnastics Club held a grand opening for its new building east of the high school. Our mission is not only to coordinate and deliver essential services, but also to ensure a sustainable future. Over the past 2 years, our community has been actively engaged in the largest, most far-reaching planning effort in the city's history, creating a vision and plan for our river corridor. In February 2018, we reached a consensus to remove our hydroelectric facilities and dams over the next 15 to 20 years, restoring the river to its natural state. The future looks bright for River Falls as we continue to realize our vision and live our mission in ways both large and small. And our values will always keep us rooted in what matters most.
Well, thank you. Thanks to our newest intern and UWRF grad, Josie, for producing the video, to IT technician John, who did a wonderful job narrating, and for lending his voice to the project, and always thanks to Mary Zimmerman for help guiding the production and giving me a little help with the speech tonight. I'd invite you to watch the video again, share it with friends and colleagues. It'll be available on our YouTube channel and Facebook page tomorrow, and I'll be delivering the State of the City speech at the Chamber breakfast on Thursday, and another chance to watch that video. So it's something that you should be able to watch with pride. You have a lot to do with the success that we had. I want to thank the Mayor and Council for guiding us through another year of growth and progress, and for your thoughtful contributions to the next 5-year strategic plan. The collective vision keeps us on a steady course, while your willingness to embrace change and seize new opportunities makes us trendsetters in good governance and mindful stewardship. I want to thank the community for their support, their volunteerism, and their commitment to the institutions and organizations that make River Falls a great place to be. Finally, I want to thank the city staff for living our values every day, for going that extra mile, and for always searching for ways to do better. I'm really lucky to serve alongside such dedicated and talented people. Now, staff innovations exemplify our value of embracing change by asking ourselves why and why not. And we ask those questions when we're confronted with new opportunities or issues and challenges in the community. I just want to point out a few examples of that. This summer, Bill Swenson, an operator at the wastewater treatment plant, he figured he could save $30,000, and he decided to perform a self-repair on a 25-foot long by 24-inch round rotor for our oxidation ditch. So he ordered the giant pipe from the supplier in the cities, he grabbed wrenches, he removed hundreds of bolts and blades, and with fellow operator Jacob McNabb, they got the job done. And Bill had simply asked, why not? The city dog park has been on many wish lists for years. In 2018, a small group of staff led by Cindy Danke, with contributions from several departments, they made it happen. With full council support, the River Falls Dog Park opened in September off County Road FF. And since then, there's been a steady flow of dogs and owners making friends and enjoying the 16 acres of open countryside. And we're going to be excited to have a grand opening this summer. A couple of years ago, River Falls police officer Kevin Moore, a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, had an idea to create a department honor guard. And at the Memorial Day Parade in May, he introduced the guard to the public for the first time. And since then, the 4 members have participated in community events, and they plan to expand their appearances to support local charities. Officer Moore said his motivation was to provide an opportunity to honor people who protect and serve and give back to the community. Now, that's just a few examples of the innovative people we have working here. As a result of a work culture that lives its values, invites innovation, and embraces change, people really want to work for the city. In 2018, we received 685 applications and held over 115 interviews. We had 21 new hires in the city. Also in 2018, we said goodbye to several longtime employees that deserve some recognition, including Bob Schwallen, who served the city for 19 years, Terry Kuzlik and Nancy Miller, who each retired after 33 years of service, Officer Greg Lotze, who first started working for the city in 1979. That's 39 years of service to the city. And as we gear up for several key employee retirements in 2019, we're working hard to prepare succession plans that will ensure as smooth a transition as possible. New technology has fueled innovation across city departments over the past several years. First, our SCADA, or Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition System for water and wastewater, is fully functional. That allows us to remotely monitor and often even control our water and wastewater equipment remotely. Now, this enhances the efficiency of our operations. It prepares reports in real time, and it even corrects deficiencies and other hazards in real time. At our January 8th meeting, Council voted to fully implement AMI, or Advanced Metering Infrastructure. And over the next several years, these new electric and water meters will be installed in River Falls. This metering system will provide utility customers personalized information about their energy and water consumption. They'll also allow us to have timelier electric outage response. Often our crews will be able to know where the outage are, how many customers are affected, and the potential severity of what the repairs will be. Also, it would improve our communication about what the rest of the community can expect for returning the power when they have an outage. We appreciate the council's support in embracing these plan changes and investing in these technology upgrades. Embracing change also means being flexible and striking while the iron is hot. Now, throughout 2017, you will recall we spent a lot of time working with consultants to assess the space needs of the police department in anticipation of a new building to be constructed in 2024. When the Rivertown Multimedia Building and Whitetail Corporate Park became available, we realized it would suit our needs at a much lower cost than what we had estimated. And as you know, we recently purchased that building and are planning to begin renovations in summer of 2020. In the meantime, we've worked with our partner, the School District of River Falls, to allow that building to house the Montessori classes as the Academy building undergoes modification. Now, at the other end of town, Glen Park renovations are well underway. The foundation for the new pavilion has been laid. In fact, there's walls for the storm shelter part are visible at this time. And that's going to be completed later this year. Construction on the splash pad and other things, including new lining for the pool, parking, trails, and sidewalks, will be installed this summer also. We can all look forward to a rehabilitated Glen Park. Now, other ambitious plans are being implemented with property acquisition and final design of the North Sewer Interceptor. Again, that's a project that will serve nearly 40% of the city in the future. The city is working actively with the state of Wisconsin to see that the State Highway 35 and Division Street off-ramp or jug handle is completed. The state began property acquisition in 2018 for this much-needed improvement. As you saw in the video, new construction and renovation projects are occurring in other locations throughout River Falls. Anchor Paper has been making progress on their 85,000 square foot facility in Whitetail Corporate Park. We're very glad that Anchor chose River Falls. A new economic development specialist was added in 2018 to assist with continuing the momentum that we've seen in business expansion and development, and we were fortunate to be able to fill that internally with a member of our management team, Carrie Schreiner. Now, Carrie will work with me, the River Falls Economic Development Corporation, and other stakeholders to continue to shine a light on River Falls and why it's a great place to do business, to form partnerships, and develop real estate. We're going to work on developing greater partnerships with those folks in real estate to invest energy in workforce development, and also to follow up on business requests for information and assistance. Finally, to work with city staff to plan for essential utility upgrades to be able to open the Man Valley Corporate Park. We're also working hard to increase our housing stock. The last year, the city contracted with Maxfield Research and Consulting. The report showed a housing demand of over 1,500 new units between now and 2030. It also showed that our current supply of rental housing is not adequate to meet current or projected demand. The recommended vacancy rate for a healthy rental market is 5%, and at the time of the survey, the city's rental vacancy rate was just above 1%. Site prep and infrastructure work has begun this spring on a site near City Hall, where 50 senior housing units and 24 market rate rentals are planned. In Sterling Ponds, about 75 lots opened and are currently available for building. Also in Sterling Ponds, the city's received a development plan for 60 market rate apartments that's moving along with construction beginning as soon as the spring. Now, in other parts of the city, we have 3 developers proposing multifamily housing, 2 sites on South Main Street and 1 at 6th Street and Cemetery Road. Our city's border continues to expand and accommodate economic and neighborhood development, and later tonight you'll hear a first reading of an ordinance to approve annexation of 3 parcels, including just under 5 acres to the city near the corner of Cemetery Road and South Wasson Lane. You'll also consider a resolution to adopt a cooperative plan between the city and the town of Kinninnic. Now, 5 years in the making, the plan sets a vision for a new boundary line between our two municipalities to guide future growth. The new boundary allows River Falls to grow by as much as 2.5 square miles over time and with thoughtful planning. I want to thank Mayor Tolan, Council Members Morissette and Odine, and the Community Development Director Buddy Lucero for their tireless work and considerable negotiating skills on behalf of the city. Now, this past year, we're happy to support building projects on the campuses of Chippewa Valley Technical College and UW River Falls. CVTC has completed their building addition, increased parking, and the university has cleared space for their new science and technology building while investing significantly in the remodel of Rodley Hall. And we expect that we'll continue to partner with them in 2019. Specifically, we'll be considering a resolution tonight approving a contract with Ayers Associates to work with the city, the college, and the university to create design concepts for infill development along Cascade Avenue and South Main Street. New development is intended to create a campus corridor, including new housing and retail establishments that will enhance the campus community, support students, strengthen the downtown, and attract residents and tourists to the area. Last but definitely not least, I want to thank all of those who have contributed to the Kinninnic Corridor project planning process, especially this council, our project committee, many of them are here tonight, and mostly the community members that got involved and stayed involved over the past 2 years. We couldn't have completed the plan without their engagement, feedback, and support. And later, you're going to consider a resolution to adopt the final plan, which helps set the course for the next 20-plus years to create a river corridor that reflects the spirit of the plan, the vision, and goals our community has established to guide it forward. Now, a public-private partnership group is currently being formed to drive forward implementation of the adopted plan, and this will be a key to us fulfilling our vision. So, thank you again, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight. Thank you for trusting me and our great staff. Thank you for setting high expectations for our work. Thank you for setting high expectations for your own work. I can assure you that we will continue to live our values in what we say and as what we do moving forward for the challenges and opportunities ahead of us in 2019. Thank you.
Anybody got anything? Okay. So let's move on to public comments. Now with public comments tonight, I know we got a lot on the agenda and there's a lot going on. Specifically items 12 and 13, which is the boundary agreement with Kinninnic Township and the corridor. So if you want to stop, if you want to come up and talk about those, just kind of keep your comments under 2 minutes if you can, and we can go from there. So if anybody has anything like to say, now would be the time to stand up and say it. Or come on up front and sign in.
Mayor Tolan, City Council, thank you again for the work of this council and this community on the Kinninnic Corridor Plan. I'm Judy Foster Babcock. I'm the president of the Kinninnic River Land Trust. I had already signed in before the meeting. I just want to offer that thanks and I really appreciate the work that all of the parties did, whether we agreed or not at times, and sometimes it was contentious. I think that that was healthy debate, and I appreciate that our city embraces that and learns from it and moves forward. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the plan totally includes. I've seen several drafts, so tonight's will be the kind of the final view that I get to look at it. And I am also participating personally as an individual citizen on the P3 partnership work, and I look forward to seeing how that goes. So thank you again for all that you've done. Thank you for inviting Kinninnic River Land Trust as a stakeholder and having us participate in that 2-year effort. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Judy. Okay, anybody else? No? Okay. So next we'll move on to the consent agenda. First one is following acknowledgement of the following minutes. Police and Fire Commission from 8:20, the River Falls Housing Authority from 11:14 and 12:12, the Library Board from 12:03, the Business Improvement District from 12:11, The joint meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission and the Park and Rec Advisory Board from 12/12. Utility Advisory Board from 12/17. And then we have a resolution regarding city administrator review process. Next one is a resolution approving South Fork Substation Transfer Rebuild Project. This would approve a contract with Jordan Transformer LLC for the rebuild of the power plant substation transformer, which we will use over in the South Fork Substation. Next one is a resolution approving professional services for South Fork Substation Project. This resolution would approve a contract with Kraus Power Engineering LLC for the South Fork Substation. Next one is a resolution awarding an engineering contract for wastewater treatment plant ditch aeration and front-end screening project. This would approve an agreement with Strand Associates for design and bidding and engineering services for improvements to the city's wastewater treatment plant. The next one is a resolution approving agreement for professional services for the safety coordinator. This would be a 2-year contract with Angelina Simasek, I always say that wrong, as safety coordinator from February 1st, 2019 through January 31st, 2021. And that's an extension of the contract we have now with her. And next one is a resolution approving concept design services from Aries Association for infill development. Let's see, this would be a service agreement with Aries for design and planning concept for the campus corridor. And the last one is a resolution approving lease for School District of River Falls for 2815 Prairie Drive. And this would approve a 16-month lease with River Falls School District for that building. Does anybody want to poll anything? Otherwise, I will take a motion.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion, we approve the consent agenda 3 through 10.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next move on to ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 2019-01, annexing certain territory of the town of River Falls to the city of River Falls. And this is the first reading. This would annex 4.73 acres on the southeast corner of Cemetery Road and South Wasson Lane. And then the second reading and disposition will be at our next meeting, which is February 12th. Does the council have any questions or comments on this? No? Okay. We'll move on to resolution approving a cooperative plan between the city of River Falls and the town of Kinninnic. This would approve the, what I just said. And Buddy's gonna give us a presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, City Councilors. I'm going to be standing for the next two presentations for the two items. The one would be the resolution for the cooperative plan agreement between the town of Kinninnic and the city of River Falls, and also the Kinninnic Corridor River Plan also. So on both of these, what I'd like to do is briefly give you a little background of the history, talk a little about the process, and then go ahead and present the resolution. The cooperative plan between the city of River Falls and the town of Kinninnic really, as the city administrator said, it started approximately 4 or 5 years ago, and that was a conversation between our mayor and that of the chairman of the town of Kinninnic, Jerry Olson. From that point, went ahead and we assigned two committees, one from the town, which is made up of the chairperson, a planning commission member, and a committee member from their corridor cooperative committee. The other was made up of the mayor, city councilor Scott Morset, later on followed by Diane Dodine, and myself. The objective of this was to take a look at a ordinance that was basically a law that was passed by the state statutes that allow two municipalities to work together to develop a vision and a plan for the municipalities themselves for the future of for their areas. When we met on this plan, one of the objectives was to be able to come up with a plan that we would reduce the amount of boundaries that we have that surround the city. Presently, we have 4 different boundaries that surround the city, from the historic, I call it extraterritorial zone that's been around since 1974. We also have the sewer service boundary that was created in 2000, and we also have the urban area boundary that was created in 2005, and then the most recent is in 2007 was a subdivision boundary extraterritorial that actually extended out almost 10 square miles. The objective was to be able to find an area that we would be able to grow into the future, would have the least amount of impact to the town and to the city. And what I mean by that is that we were looking for an area that wouldn't have a lot of area that's developed. We were looking for the larger lots. We were looking for a transportation corridor that went north to south and east to west. We were also looking at how we want to grow in the future. One of the concerns that the township had at the time was requiring people to annex what we refer to as attachment. So under the agreement, we are actually doing a contract, so some of the language in the agreement has changed in the verbiage. So when we met with them, we finally came down to the wording that we wanted. We would be able to go ahead, we're not going to require any attachments to the city. We're going to allow those people on the property to keep the type of development they have, be it most of it was agriculture. And one of the things that we offered is that reducing the impact from almost 10 square miles to 2.5 square miles, we also reduced the impact of the people that are out there. There's over 550 residents, and we brought that down to about 50 residents, from 250 units, about 23, 24 units. So what I mean by that is those areas that are adjacent to the city are large properties. That meant 300, 400 acres in size. Now this was very, very important to the city, because what we want to do is be able to guide that future, be able to have some certainty, and be able to do the way that we can streamline the review process and do this in an economical way. Meaning that if we invest in our infrastructure in an area, we know that we would be able to get that payback, allowing more of a clean slate to develop that property. At the same time, we're not requiring the person to change what they're doing out there. We're allowing them to maintain what they want to do. We're not forcing them into the city. They would come and approach us, and we would have the ability to zone that property, which we're recommending all zone agriculture except for one area. I'll explain in a minute. And also have the planning authority of that property. Now, in our recent workshop that we had with the township over at the library, we had one person that we requested to maintain his property as industrial. After reviewing that, we agreed with him. He has a 50-acre parcel out of the 1,600 acres that he has had industrial from the beginning. We looked at all the other properties. We looked at tax records on those, and we found that they were all basically agricultural in use. So we went ahead and went with that agricultural use. We went ahead and made that one change to the plan itself from a plan that was submitted to you originally. That plan was forwarded to the township. The township earlier this month took a look at that plan and decided to go ahead and move forward. One of the requirements we had that we needed to do was to be able to complete the process that the state statutes requires, but also have a resolution passed by the township and the city for the plan to be forwarded, to be reviewed. They would review it to make sure that we followed all process. The plan would come back to us in April, which we'd have the opportunity to adopt that plan. Now the township reviewed it and they passed it. You may see in your packet tonight a resolution that was passed by the township, and now they've forwarded it to us to go ahead and take that action. So what we're requesting tonight is that you have action, and we're recommending approval of that resolution that's attached. The plan has been reviewed. Our city attorney was very helpful in developing the plan, along with the township's attorney and their committee. We feel very confident in this, and we feel that this is a good process for the city to move forward in, and I will stand for any questions or comments.
Questions for anybody?
Buddy, could you just real quickly tell us what happens if we move this forward? The town's already moved their piece forward. What happens next? How does that work?
What we would do is take the two resolutions, if they're signed, incorporate those into the plan, forward the plan to the Department of Administration. They have up to approximately 90 days to review the plan. It allows any opportunity for anybody to provide comments, or if they have comments, they would like to ask us, make those changes. If the plan is approved by them, the plan would be forwarded back to the town and to the city, and therefore the plan is basically approved by the state, and therefore it requires the final action, and that would be for us to adopt that plan, which basically allows the mayor to sign off on it, and it becomes the city's and township's basic contract or agreement.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, entertain a motion then.
Mr. Mayor, I move approval of the resolution approving a cooperative plan between the City of River Falls and the Town of Kinninnic.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Back to you, buddy, for the resolution approving the Kinninnic Corridor Plan.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I want to also thank the city administrator and the video we saw earlier. It provided a lot of information on a project that the city has been fully involved in. As you recall, back in 2016, we had a workshop, and at this workshop, we requested to move forward with a plan. And to move forward with the plan, we asked the council that we go ahead and select an 11-person committee, and that committee has been with us from day one. And I know there's some members out here. I know this might be a little awkward. If we could have those committee members stand up, please. Give them a round of applause. Now, this is one of the biggest challenges in the 20 years that I've been with the city. And the process was an excellent process that we developed as one to get out into the community and make sure people were aware of the project that we were working on. Numerous meetings, as you're well aware of, numerous workshops, numerous charrettes. We took this in 2 steps. That first step was really to take a look at the hydro facilities on the relicensing or surrendering. That was brought to you in a draft report along with a resolution. The first of this 2018 City Council reviewed that resolution and made some minor changes and forwarded on as they passed it. But that wasn't the project itself. We needed to go back and we needed to really look at the overall corridor. And we needed to get some assistance on that, and we went ahead and hired a friend of ours. And I say that in the sense that the consulting firm had worked with the city before. They were experts in river corridor planning. That was HKGI. They worked with our committee. They worked with our staff. I really want to thank Mary Zimmerman and Angie Bond, who were part of the team that helped a lot in all of these meetings. We went through the process again. We looked at what we had and what we wanted to develop. Now, as much as I want to stand up here and tell you everything, I want to go ahead and allow the consultant to come up and talk a little about the plan. And then I'd like to come back and talk a little more about the resolution. But again, the process was very important. It was a process, and I really thank the council for allowing us to have the time to walk and not run through this project. It really gathered the people from all over the community, and not just the city, but throughout. It had the opportunity for them to meet each other, had an opportunity to participate, it had an opportunity for them to have a voice, and that was very important in a project of this size. And so with that, I'll ask if Jeff would come up and kind of give a brief of the plan itself, and then I'll talk about the resolution.
Thank you, Buddy. Mayor, members of the council, thanks for providing me with the opportunity to be here tonight to talk about the Kinninnic Corridor Plan. The Kinninnic Corridor Plan provides a long-term vision for the corridor in River Falls and builds on decades of planning and engineering studies that had been done before our involvement, as well as input from thousands of community residents about their values and their vision for the Kinninnic Corridor over time. So our work began last spring on the heels of the decision to remove the dams and restore the river corridor. We began that work with a study of the prior planning studies, reviewing all of that community input on the corridor and developing a set of key takeaways. We also toured the site with city staff and committee members and developed a set of issues and opportunities for the 3 different reaches of the Kinninnic Corridor that we were studying. And really our goal was to not get in the way and really provide life, give some life to the earlier work and the voice that the community had expressed. And we did that by working closely with city staff and the committee members that just stood up here. Great group of people to work with. We developed ideas around enhancing the natural resource of the Kinninnic River, enhancing water quality and wildlife habitat, preserving and protecting the river corridor, looking at ways to better connect the community to the Kinnie River and provide better access to the river for recreational opportunities. Looked at future parks and recreational opportunities along the river, particularly in the Lake Louise and Lake George areas of the river, which will see the greatest change. And we also looked at ways to kind of optimize economic development and land use opportunities along the river corridor as well. So the plan outlines a series of recommendations around those kinds of objectives. It also takes a look at specific projects, improvements on the corridor. We worked with the community to develop priorities for those projects, and those are found in the implementation chapter. The ideas were all vetted with the community at a couple of open houses, one in September and another one in mid-November. And those are well attended, and we did a dot exercise. We saw a lot of green dots on our boards, so we figured we were moving in the right direction. And so what you see now is really what I'd call it's the community's plan before you here for future of the Kinnie River Corridor. We're proud of the work, and I think the community ought to be proud of the work as well. As Scott and Buddy have said, you know, you couldn't have done it without the community here. They were front and center on this project.
The important things on a plan like this is this is a living document. And what I mean by that is that this document every year, be it this year to 20 years down the road, provides the guidance and ideas of what this community has. It will change, and it will get in more detail as you get into the different projects or as developers come and say, what can we do in your area? This provides that guidance. It provides the guidance when we look at potentially trying to get grants. It provides the guidance for nonprofits who want to work along the river or make changes. It provides that information, and as Scott said, we're taking it that step further with the public-private partnership in trying to keep this document alive. It needs to be alive. By having the community involved and the council and all these members makes this a live document that we can work with in the future. It's been a pleasure working on this. It's been very exciting. You know, when people come, no matter what it is, our first meeting was in December. It was snowing. It was crowded. We had over 300 people that came to that meeting. I mean, that shows a lot of people that were involved, wanted to be part of this, and provided their voice and their guidance to help us create this plan. With that, the committee felt so strong about the resolution that they forwarded, they all wanted to sign it. And they signed that resolution that we forwarded to you, along with a resolution tonight recommending the adoption of the Kinnie River Corridor Plan, and request your review and action. I am open for any comments. I know there might be some changes that someone may want to make to this, and that we're here to answer any questions.
Questions for Buddy?
I guess I just got kind of one thing. You hold the packet up and you look at all the pages in here, and then you kind of step back and go, there's a lot of work that went into that. A lot of people's time and passions and desires for what they want in their community. And I think, like you said, this is a great plan to work from. It's a living document. And I think it really represents our community as a whole, not just one stakeholder, one group of people. It kind of brought everybody together and helped shape what the best picture moving forward is. And I'd really hate to see going forward, because I know there's a lot of different opinions. We've all got our own of what that should look like. But I'd really like to see that this plan to be carried out with that private-public partnership, and not just one person or group come in and try to unriddle all that work. So fantastic job to the committee. I mean, you guys did a fantastic job, and staff, thanks.
Okay, anybody else? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion on this.
Oh, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor, I move for approval of the resolution approving the Kinninnic River Corridor Plan.
Second.
Questions or comments?
I did want to talk briefly about amendment I wanted to make to the draft plan real quick. And my amendment simply says, adds the word "and powerhouses" to page 511, and I'll read what it says right now. It says, "Plan for and steward and repurposing of Junction Dam Power Plant." And then I added the phrase, "and powerhouse structures. The community has asked for a public-private reuse of this facility." And the reason I want to add the phrase "and powerhouse" is because it represents part of the city's identity and an opportunity to have landmarks that can be historical, where they can be shared, and recreational, and has a sense of tourism that can be added to the river plan we have, where people can look out and see a free-flowing river and enjoy the view. So with that, I motion to amend the draft plan to read on page 511, "Plan for and steward the repurposing of the Junction Dam Power Plant and powerhouse structures. The community has asked for a public-private reuse of this facility."
Sean, if I could offer a friendly amendment, if we could tag onto the end, just if feasible, because I don't think that the practicality of maintaining the lower powerhouse has really been investigated, and it is in fairly, it's a little beaten up. And so I wonder if feasible might be appropriate at the end of that statement, just purely for the practicality of tying one's hands to maintaining that if it's not a structurally sound facility.
Mr. Mayor, if I could,
So,
not to take out Mr. Page's, but isn't there a point of order here?
Yeah.
Don't we have to act?
Should we
Give
act
him a
on his
second?
first, and then,
His first and then a friendly.
Oh, I
if
apologize.
you want, no,
Yeah.
that's fine. And if he wants
So
to
I'll-
amend that,
I'll give
or can,
Councilmember Downings a second.
And then I'll make my friendly amendment
so
if it's agreeable.
so he's got an amendment, so I have a first, do I have a second on his amendment? If feasible, would be the
I'll
amendment.
second.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? So we'll vote first on,
The amendment.
yep, on Mr. Page's amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next we'll vote on Sean's amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next, and then we'll vote on the main resolution.
Well, I would just like
Yep.
to say one thing, Mr. Mayor. I am all in favor and support of this plan, the work and effort, and really the coming together of our community over this project has just been immense and tremendous, and the final product here is amazing. I mean, that we have reached this point as a community. I would just like to lodge my concern and my opposition to the time frame that is still laid out in this plan of 2035 to 2040 for the final restoration of the river. But that is really the only issue that I take with this plan, and I otherwise support it and will be voted in favor. I just wanted to lodge my opposition to that time frame.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, got first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I just want to take a quick second too to, this has been a long process, we all know that, but I really want the community to know that they are a big part of this, and I greatly appreciate everything the community's done, come to these meetings and all these charrettes and all the different things we've had, and they put a lot of effort into that. And the committee members, I was part of that committee when this started, and sitting there the first couple of meetings, I think to myself, this is never going to work. We're never going to come to any kind of consensus on anything. But, I admire everything they did. They put a lot of work into it, a lot of give and take, a lot of great things, and came up with this, not only the timeline on the dams, but the timeline for the whole corridor and everything, and I think that turned out wonderful. The staff put a ton of work into this too, so I greatly appreciate everything the staff has done for us. And, then, of course, the next thing we move on to now, the really important part of this is that public-private partnership. And I think the P3 is going to be the real defining thing for this, to get citizens, and there again, this is where we need citizens' involvement. Now, this is going to be a public-private thing. This ain't going to have anything to do with the city. There'll be no council members. I ain't going to be on, none of us will be involved with that. So this will be up to the citizens to get together, get this committee together, and come up with their plan for how we're going to move forward on all this stuff. Just to let everybody know, the next meeting for that is the 24th, which would be this Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock, I believe it starts? 4 to 5:30 about that. So please, if you're interested, please come to the meeting, you know, and let them know you're interested. So that's the next big thing for this. So I hope everybody stays involved with this. It's a great thing. Next, Buddy, I'll meet you there.
What did I do? Yep.
So, with Buddy's involvement and everything, these especially the last two things we voted on, Buddy has been a real big guiding force behind all this stuff. And before I say all my remarks I'm supposed to say, I just want Buddy to know how much I appreciate all the work you've done. Staff has done a lot of work too. I greatly appreciate everything. But there's been, I don't know how many times Buddy has talked me off the ledge on these different things. And it's just, he's always that calming voice, you know, when I get crazy about a thing, or anybody on any committees or anything gets crazy about stuff, Buddy just steps in very calm and quietly and sets us straight and brings us back in, and he's just been amazing. So I can say my stuff I'm supposed to say. Okay, so first I want to commend our River Falls community for thoroughly engaging in the plan's development. See, this is all based on the corridor, but I think between the corridor and the boundary agreement, you've done wonderful. Engaging in the plan's development. I was proud to be part of the process that could have divided us, but instead united us. Together, we reached a common vision for our river corridor. I can tell you that other municipalities have commented on the civility and respect we shared with one another during this long and complicated process. I also want to share Buddy Lucero's appreciation for the work of the project committee members. Members entered the process in November of 2016 with great enthusiasm and passion for the project, as well as willingness to listen to and learn from the community. There were a few bumps and bruises along the way, but they stayed committed to the process and helped us reach a consensus about the future of our river and corridor. Committee members, please accept our heartfelt thanks for your hard work and a job well done. Finally, I'd like to thank the city staff and especially Buddy for managing this complex and sometimes challenging process. He kept all the balls in the air while ensuring that everyone was informed and engaged. His leadership, transparency, calm demeanor, and innovation and problem solving were so appreciated. But as a token of our appreciation, there it is. I want to present you from the city this River Falls city flag. So I hope you fly it proudly and enjoy it as long as you've been here. And for anybody that doesn't know, Buddy is going to be retiring soon, so we're going to be losing another great asset in the city. So thank you.
Thanks a lot. I
appreciate everything you do.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on now. We'll move on to reports. We'll start the administrative report. If anybody's got anything for Scott, or Scott, if you got anything for us.
We did it. Congratulations to us all, I guess. The January 24th at 7:30, I will be, if you want to hear the state of the city again, I'll be at the West Wind at 7:30 on Thursday. The P3, which we've talked about, again, looking for anyone from the public who's interested in volunteering for that. We have started on the Kinninnic Corridor website now. We've done a /P3, so if you go to kinninniccorridor.org, or I'm sorry, /P3, we've started to post information from that group. So the city council has said that the staff can work with that group as they kind of get their formation going. And so we've been assisting them and you know, secretarial duties and trying to help find meeting rooms and things. But that group is really starting to gain some momentum. And now they can really get excited because there's a plan that they can, put their hands on and start talking about how, what pieces we're going to take a bite out of. So I'm looking forward to that group. We have a workshop at 5 o'clock for legislative priorities before the next council meeting on February 20th. And the next Coffee with a Cop is at Family Fresh, February 20th. So I'd be happy to take any questions the council might have.
Anybody got anything? No? Thanks, Scott. I just have one appointment I'd like to make. I'd like to appoint Melissa Padrini through May of 2022 to the Park and Rec Advisory Board.
I move for the mayor's appointment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Move to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.